Hi guys, welcome to Rosenfield 10 where I cover the New Orleans Saints. I'm watching the draft right now live. I figured I would just record my reaction to what's happening. The Saints have already made their second round pick and we chose defensive tackle Christian Miller out of Georgia. I like the pick a lot. I'll be doing a video later breaking down our actual picks, but right now in real time I'm watching as the third round has just started. So the Cardinals are about to pick with pick 65, and the Saints are slotted to pick at 73. So let's see, we've got 8 players that are going to get taken before the Saints pick. And on my big list, there's 11 players that I have highlighted. Got a lot more than 11 players written down, but 11 players highlighted that I would really love for the Saints to get. Cornerback Keontae Scott out of Miami is my highest rated player by far. I wanted him in the second round. And yeah, with 8 more picks to go, he's still on the board and would make a great pick. Seattle just chose the last pick in the second round, and they got safety Bud Clark, who would make in my opinion, would have made a pretty good nickelback for the Saints, but Keontae Scott, after Caleb Downs, Keontae Scott was my nickelback of choice. So it's exciting. I don't have much to show other than these are the players I'm looking at for the third round. I'm going to go ahead and fill these in afterwards and we'll just break it down. So the Cardinals pick is in. They're going to be choosing any second now. And I'm going to see if any of my favorite players are still there. I've got a ton of players written down besides these 11. These are just my top 11. Still so many players left. Some really good wide receivers. Besides Chris Bell. And I've got Chris Bell written here because I had a second round grade on him. So wouldn't that be wild if we got an injured wide receiver to go with our first round injured wide receiver? All right, so the draft room for the Cardinals are cheering and clapping, and we're going to hear what the pick is in a minute. I'm going to be pausing this video during the downtime and just reacting to everything as it happens, leading up to our third round pick. If you look at my big board right here, I don't know how I'm going to have it listed after this is recorded, but Keontae Scott, the cornerback out of Miami, is my highest rated guy right now. I'm really looking at safety Zakee Wheatley as an option in the nickel, and also safety A.G. Halsey out of LSU would be a nickel option here. I have to have cornerback Jermod McCoy highlighted as a third round pick. It's not so much of a risk anymore considering the talent level of the player. So I'm actually really surprised McCoy hasn't been drafted yet. Guard Emmanuel Pregnon is huge, very high on my list right now. All right, the Cardinals are about to make their pick, and it is quarterback Carson Beck out of Miami. Wow. So that's nice. He's not on my list at all. Rounding out this top 11 of mine, and all 11 are still there with 7 picks to go. Wide receiver Chris Bell is still there. I've got safety Jalen Kilgore, who can also man that nickel spot. I really like edge rusher Romello Height at this point to get a really talented pass rusher would be a good pick since we haven't addressed edge yet. I love 2 centers that are still on the board. Connor Lew out of Auburn, Sam Hecht out of Kansas State. And yeah, tight end Sam Roush out of Stanford still sitting here. And the run on tight end has begun in this day two. So right now, my favorites are Keontae Scott out of Miami and guard Emmanuel Pregnon out of Oregon. And then I'm leaning towards either the tight end Sam Roush or possibly before him, either center Connor Lew or center Sam Heck. It's kind of insane, but the top five guys, three of them are offensive linemen. But there's still a lot of players on the board that the Saints could grab that I don't have highlighted here that I wouldn't be too disappointed in. Starting with cornerback Keith Abney the second out of Arizona State, cornerback Malik Muhammad out of Texas would be good cornerbacks to get. And I gotta mention Charles Demings out of Stephen F. Austin. Edge rushers besides Romello Height, I could see Keon Crawford or just Joshua Josephs. Jay-Sean Barham, the linebacker out of Michigan, is still there as a good edge rusher, and denied Dennis Sutton, edge rusher from Penn State, is still there. And we could double down on wide receiver besides grabbing Chris Bell because there's a ton of really good ones still there. Zachariah Branch, Chris Brazel, Elijah Surratt, Malachi Fields, Ted Hurst, Bryce Lance, Jacoby Lane. The Broncos are on the clock now with pick 66. This is their first pick all night long. They traded out of their second round pick, traded away their first round pick weeks ago. And with the 66th pick in the third round, the Denver Broncos select defensive tackle Tyler Onyedem out of Texas A&M. Unbelievable. Onyedem. Did not have him on my radar. And Texas A&M is chock-a-block full of talent. Well, that's nice. So I still have 11 players left. So I'm going to pause the video and come back when the next selection is made. The next selection will be 67, and we pick at 73. All right, the Raiders are on the clock with pick 67. Saints pick at 73. With pick 67, the Raiders choose edge rusher Keon Crawford out of Auburn. He is on my big list, and I'm scratching him off now, but still not one of my highlighted 11 left on the board. So good pick by the Raiders. Good pick for me. Ross, your guy Keon Crawford out of Auburn goes to the Raiders. And I know he was a popular guy with Ross. Yep, he was on my short list here. Edge rusher is still an important position to address for the Saints. And I'm telling you, out of everybody that I really like that's on my list right now, Josephs, Barham, Dennis Sutton, I'm leaning towards Romello Height if we're going to go that route. The Eagles will be picking at 68, and we'll see if my players are still there. They're going to a commercial break. See you in a second. All right, so at this point in the draft, with pick 68 about to come up for the Eagles, at this point in the draft, I value Keontae Scott at cornerback so much, and Emmanuel Pregnon, the guard out of Oregon. I value those two so much ahead of everyone else on this list right now that I'd be willing to trade up to grab one or the other. The smart play, you've only got four more picks after this one, five picks. The smart play is I've got two players there that I love and five picks to go. I think they're both worth it to move up, especially Keontae Scott, being that we lost Taylor. Emmanuel Pregnon, I would be hoping he would beat out Cesar Ruiz. He would have to, I think he would have to learn the right side of the offensive line. But man, I value the talent level of both those guys. So just wanted to throw that caveat in right here, right now, before the Eagles pick at 68. That yeah, I would be tempted to give Chicago, who's picking at 69, I'd be willing to give them a seventh round pick next year just to let us move up 4 spots with them. All right, they're about to announce the Eagles pick at 68. And yeah, my top 11 are still there. With the 68th pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select tackle Markel Bell out of Miami. I knew this mammoth dude was going to get drafted early, and I thought the Saints were in love with him. I had this feeling the Saints were going to pick a player from Miami at some point. And when I saw his recent interview on Teron Armstead's podcast, I really like the guy. I like the character. I mean, talk about a gentle giant. This dude's 6'9", 300 and what's 40 pounds. He's a massive individual. Way too tall to be successful offensive lineman, but God, man, he's pretty good, and he's got a lot to work on. So a project, I feel like. For some reason, I think Kellen Moore likes really big offensive linemen, powerful, strong guys. So yeah, I had Bell factored in as a Kellen Moore guy, and here he is getting drafted 68th overall to the Philadelphia Eagles. Imagine that. Well, Dennis Allen's Chicago Bears are on the clock with the 69th pick, and the pick is in. They're going to announce this pick. I don't have to cross off Markel Bell from my list. I thought he was I thought he would be a potential Saint. I think the third round would have been the round to get him. I'm happy because we don't really need a tackle like that. But with the 69th pick, Chicago, oh God, you know they're milking something here. 69th pick and then 70, 71, 72. Three more picks. Three more picks, and I love Scott and love Pregnon. My luck, both of them will be on the clock, and the Saints won't choose either one. That's how the Saints treat me sometimes. Oh, wow. The Chicago Bears with the 69th pick take tight end Sam Roush out of Stanford. Holy cow. They've got Colston Loveland and now they've got Sam Roush. Oh, man, this breaks my heart. I'm scratching it off. Oh, that was one of my 11 left now. Jeez Louise. Three more picks to go. 70, 71, 72, and then we pick at 73. So three more picks to go, and there's 10 players I really covet. But man, Sam Roush was in my top five there. Keontae Scott, Emmanuel Pregnon, and then, if Scott's not there, Jalen Kilgore's value goes up for me. And I really like the two center prospects, but I would have gone Sam Roush before the two center prospects or Kilgore. Unless Scott gets taken. And I really like Zakee Wheatley and Jalen Kilgore and AJ Halsey as potential nickels if Scott's not there. All right, the next pick is pick 70. The pick is in for the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm going to see what happens now. Oh, 49ers with the 70th pick select Romello Height, edge rusher, Texas Tech. So there goes my favorite edge rusher left on the board. And this is what I thought would happen. If you didn't get an edge rusher early in this draft, you were going to be grabbing situational guys. Romello's certainly a situational guy. The only one left on the board now for me at edge rusher, Joshua Josephs and Denai Dennis Sutton. Both of them can play the run pretty well. So both of them have pass rush ability. Joshua Joseph's a really good pass rusher. So those options are still there. And there's two more picks to go. Let's see what happens. All right, so pick 71 is going to be made by the Washington Commanders here in a minute. 71, 72, and then the Saints pick at 73. My two highest rated players, Keontae Scott, cornerback out of Miami, Emmanuel Pregnon, guard out of Oregon. The guy on NFL Network, Keontae Scott, is his second highest remaining player after Jermod McCoy on his list. Pregnon's a few further down on his list, but I'm getting nervous. The Commanders have a pretty good slot cornerback. So, but man, to me, Pregnon has been worth a pick since the second round at guard. And that's why he and Scott are so high on my list. There's only a handful of players that have a second round grade left on the board. Jermod McCoy, Keontae Scott at cornerback. Safety, AJ Halsey. Safety, Zakee Wheatley for me, second round grade. Guard, Emmanuel Pregnon has a second round grade. And wide receiver, Chris Bell has a second round grade for me. And yeah, my favorite two are Scott and Pregnon. So finally, the Commanders with the 71st pick in the third round is going to select. Come on, 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 come on. Oh my goodness gracious me. This is taking a while. I have the volume turned down, so I have no idea what anybody's saying. I'll spare you. God, that went on 40 more seconds. You are spared with the 71st pick. The Washington Commanders select. I know he just said it. Come on. Wide receiver Antonio Williams out of Clemson. Wide receiver Antonio Williams. I have a long list of wide receivers here, and Williams wasn't one of them. He's on my big board, but he wasn't on my favorites to target today. All right, Williams at 71, meaning Cincinnati is next, and then our beloved Saints. And with Scott and Pregnon still on the board, my hopes and dreams remain strong. See you in a second. All right, the Bengals with pick 72 in the third round of the 2026 NFL Draft select cornerback Takario Davis out of Washington. Big boy's about 6'4", tall and long. Well, all right, that means the Saints are on the clock now, and oh my goodness. Keontae Scott's still there. Nickelback Supreme. Perfect for our defense. Guard Emmanuel Pregnon is still there. Starting caliber guard. Second round grade on him, in my opinion. And he's still sitting there. And there's also a bunch of other players we could get. I wouldn't be disappointed. Wide receiver Chris Bell, cornerback Jermod McCoy, even though that would be a risk. What a talent. Safety AJ Halsey, safety Zakee Wheatley. I wouldn't mind Keith Abney, cornerback. I wouldn't mind Malik Muhammad, cornerback. Safety Jalen Kilgore would be fine as well. Edge rusher Joshua Josephs, edge rusher denied Dennis Sutton, linebacker Jay Barham, the two centers, Connor Liu and Sam Heck. And then tight end Justin Jolie and an array of wide receivers besides Chris Bell. So here we go. Marcus Colston is introducing the pick. With the 73rd pick in the third round of the 2026 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select tight end Oscar Delp out of Georgia. Unbelievable. I did not write him down on this list. He was one guy I left off. And Oscar Delp is a favorite player of mine. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so if I would have had one more player on this list, it might have actually been him. Seriously, that's how much I love him. I bragged about his run blocking ability all year long. Watching Georgia play, I would watch Oscar Delp. I'd be looking for number 4 and watching how he was going to affect the play. And every single time he affected the play. Great run blocker, was able to get in position and did his job. Now he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he's pretty athletic. He can be a very effective receiver. But he's a technician. And what I was thinking, the first person I thought of to compare him to actually was Foster Moreau, and just you know a younger, really good player. I think we're watching him play another sport, maybe croquet or something like that. Oscar Delp's a really good player. Unbelievable. So somebody that wasn't even on my list gets taken. That happens. But I tell you what, we got us a really good player. Unbelievable that so much talent is still sitting there. And I bet there's somebody in the cornerback class this year or safety class this year that the Saints are certain can play nickelback. And I'm assuming there's somebody way down there in day 3 that the Saints feel like can rush the passer from the edge too, because we still haven't addressed edge rusher or nickelback. But we get a really good tight end there. That's my reaction. Sorry, I don't douse water all over everybody and dance on the bed. And I'm definitely not going to scream and shout. I'll give you a level-headed reaction. And that's my instant reaction to getting tight end Oscar Delp out of Georgia. Really good player. And God, if he was only a little bit bigger, I would I would have been pushing for him the whole time. But yeah, there's I've been bragging about Delp since midway through the college season. Just ask my coworkers. I talked about him a lot. Watching him run block is a thing of beauty. It's a beautiful thing. And so I think we got us a complete tight end. And that's a good gig. All right, I'm Joe. Subscribe to Rosenfield 10. I'll be breaking down our draft picks in another video. And until the next one, talk to you later. Who dat?